Hello everyone, my name is Callum Vaughan from guitarspace.org and today I've got a special guitar review for you. I recently had the opportunity to test out the Monoprice Indio guitar, electric, 6-string, and I'm here to tell you exactly what it is, how it feels to play it, and what it sounds like. So for those that don't know, Monoprice, they kind of specialise in making budget guitars, Indio being one of them. And it's available at an exceptionally cheap price. I think I got this for around, it was about £80. So you're talking about $100 for a whole electric guitar, you know, crazy price. And yeah, put it on my radar as a potential candidate for one of the best budget beginner electric guitars. The real question is, does the quality stand up, or, you know, is there kind of like discrepancies in terms of how it sounds and how it feels to play it? Let's find out. After tearing open the guitar-shaped cardboard box that arrived on my doorstep, I was happy to see that the guitar came packaged in this lovely soft case. It says Indio on the front, and it's got a nice little pouch just here. I wasn't expecting that, especially not from a $100 guitar. So yeah, it was a nice little bonus. I was keen to test out the instrument immediately, and I stupidly left my guitar cable at a gig the night before, so I couldn't play it. And I was looking all around my flat trying to find a guitar cable. And then just out of like chance, I searched in the little pouch just here, and there was a 3-meter electric guitar cable inside, which was delightful to see. So yeah, I could then get started straight away. The guitar strings were already applied, they weren't in tune, but you know, that took me a minute to solve, and yeah, I was very happy with the unboxing process. Everything was packaged well, it came quickly. Now, let's talk more about the guitar itself, the Monoprice Indio electric guitar. It's a 6-string electric, pretty standard looking in terms of budget guitars, and yeah, let's have a look, let's dive into the exact features of it. As I mentioned earlier, Monoprice specialise in producing budget guitars, the Indio being one of them, so don't get your hopes up in terms of specifications here. We're dealing with a low, kind of like low budget guitar. Don't expect anything too fancy. So for example, the body is made out of linden. Now, linden is one of the more budget tone woods. It's quite, I find it quite heavy to use. And yeah, the resonance just doesn't compare to things like mahogany and spruce, etc. But I do think at least it's better than synthetic tone woods like plastics that a lot of budget guitar brands use. So I think Monoprice should get props for that. I also think the fittings of this guitar make up for it. So whilst you have got the linden body, you've actually got a rosewood fretboard and a maple neck. Which are two pretty standard features in higher end electric guitars, so that's really cool. Obviously the tone wood grade's not so high, but that's okay. Now, in terms of the design, you've probably already recognised it. It is essentially trying to imitate the classic Fender Telecaster design. I do feel that it's like slightly blockier than the original. It doesn't, I've got a Telecaster, like a Fender, and it doesn't quite feel right in comparison. But again, you get what you pay for, and it looks pretty cool. It's got a nice sunburst finish and a white scratch plate to kind of like, yeah, counteract that. And yes, a classic combo, like everyone knows this kind of look of a guitar. So yeah, in terms of electronics, we have got, as you can see, 2 pickups just here. Obviously you've got your pickup selector, volume dial and tone dial. And you will also notice that on the guitar bridge, just here, it's a little bit unique looking, a bit weird looking, and it does not contain a tremolo mechanism. So that does mean that you will not, unfortunately, be able to use a whammy bar with this electric guitar. Other than that, you've got your basics, you've got your machine heads, your tuning pegs, your frets, yeah, everything's pretty standard looking. You've got everything you need here. Oh, you do have a guitar strap, which is nice, not a guitar strap, a guitar strap knob, and of course, somewhere for your guitar cable. And this is the guitar cable, by the way. I think it's 3 meters, and yeah, it was nice that it was included. Now let's take a look at the feel of this. How does the guitar sound? How does it feel to use? Straight out of the box, I plugged it straight into one of my amp sims on Ableton, and it sounded absolutely fantastic. I was blown away. I thought $100 guitar, you know, sounded like this, that's crazy. But you have to bear in mind that there was a lot of effects going on and stuff like that. When I just went for a clean signal, there's no denying I did notice some kind of discrepancies in terms of the resonance of the linden wood. I also noticed that like the tone and volume dials just don't feel very sensitive. Most of the kind of like tone exploration and crafting you're going to be doing will either be with the pickup selector the way you play, or with external means such as like guitar simulator, amp simulators and effects. Yeah, it just felt like when I changed the volume and the tone dial from anything other than full, it just didn't really like sound that good, not very sensitive, I think. So it's something to bear in mind. Something that I do really like about this guitar is the tuning stability. Now, this might have something to do with what I said earlier, that this guitar does not have a tremolo mechanism. You cannot use a whammy bar with it. I am kind of prone to overusing my whammy bar, I guess you could say, and yeah, making my guitar go out of tune. However, despite that, I've just been really surprised at how, straight out of the box, I tuned up the guitar, and I must have, across the last month, I must have only retuned it about 5 times. Obviously, I've not been using it for performances or anything like that, but for practicing, it's just stayed in tune all the time, despite how much I play it, and that's really cool. That's something that you'd expect from a higher range guitar, not something that cost $100. So, well done, Monoprice, I respect that. The strings that they come with, I think, do feel a little bit rough. It's something about the strings and the fretboard, they just feel a little bit cheap, and especially towards the end of the fretboard, it's just a little bit scratchy on your fingers, I guess you could say. Now, I did apply some string oil, which quickly eradicated this issue. However, I do still think that it would probably be worth restringing them completely yourself, just to kind of, ensure that you're working on a level playing field, you know. So you don't want to cut up your hands just because you're using a cheaper guitar. Now, all of these points have been really important, but ultimately you've got to remember that this guitar is $100. I've played this every single day, at least for an hour, for a month. $100 guitar. And honestly, after the first couple of days where it just felt a little bit bulky, it felt a bit cheap, once I got over that, I completely forgot about it, and I've been using it as my main guitar every single day. I've honestly not really got any complaints about it, other than the fact that the tone and volume dials and even pickups aren't that sensitive. There's nothing else that I can fault about this guitar for the price. So yeah, I think it's absolutely perfect if you're a beginner, but you don't want to invest too much in the hobby before you really learn it. Highly recommend it. Even for myself, who I'm an experienced guitarist, I've been playing for a good 10-15 years, and I do have more expensive guitars, but it's always nice to have another option around, you know, maybe you want to quickly tune into a lower tuning or something like that. So yeah, I'd recommend it for experienced players too. Just make sure you know what you're getting, and it's not going to be too fancy quality. Okay, so first of all, let's have a listen to what the guitar sounds like clean. And one more time on a different pickup. So it sounds good. It's certainly listenable, certainly fine for practicing. Maybe a little high on the lower end and mid end, not much treble, but that is to be expected. These are, after all, $100 pickups. Well, $100 guitar, so, you know, it's budget stuff. Now let's have a quick listen to it through some processing. I'm using Guitar Rig Pro and a little bit of Cathedral reverb on Ableton. Sounding pretty cool. Yeah, I'm liking the sound of that. Let's try something on a different pickup once again. Sounds a bit brighter now. Nice. In conclusion, I have to say that I'm really impressed by this Monoprice Indio guitar. I've tried a lot of $100 guitars in my time, and most of them have some pretty major pitfalls, especially in terms of like the tuning stability or just feeling cheap, you know. But for the most part, the Indio, it's not giving me those vibes. It's been a pleasure to use. I've had no problems with it over the last month, and yeah, the only big criticism is the kind of dynamic and tonal limitations with the dial. But yeah, as long as you're a beginner or simply looking for a cheap and cheerful budget guitar, I can really recommend the Indio Monoprice guitar. Cheers, bye bye.